Hello, this is Lucy Hutchison, and this is my project 3 in terms of my form now. So some of the things that I implemented are for my form selections. This is my app A. When we go to add a new Bible study lesson, I have my input hints here. So pretty much every field has an input hint, as well as just these helping them know, okay, we're going to choose a topic, we're going to choose a book. The good defaults here are date, so today's date would be the good default for that. I didn't have checkboxes, but I do have radio buttons, and the most obvious default would be adults, since most of the Bible study lessons would be for adults, as well as the length of the Bible study in minutes. They're usually about 30 minutes long, so that's my good defaults for App A, especially, and that includes my prominent done button, which is down here at the bottom, and it's also green. Everything else is a muted neutral color, so there isn't a whole lot of confusion as to what that button does. For validation, I have it shown up. Before it was at the top, and so now I have it shown up right underneath the field, so they know where the errors are, or what fields need that information. For my app B, also I have my thumbnail grid here. I had inadvertently left it out from last week, so I was able to stick that in there and implement it. For the wrong one here, there isn't an input prompt here. Book focus, which under app A was a drop down, is now just a text box, but there's 66 books in the Bible, and they aren't going to change, so having a drop down made sense, as opposed to just an input where they can misspell a book, or put a book that doesn't exist in there. So and that's why this is kind of what doesn't work for my app. And then the default is I put my name as the author, which isn't a very good default. A book, which isn't gonna, they're not all gonna be in the book of Genesis at all, kind of default, and so those were my I guess wrong defaults for this. Also, the done button is up at the top, or the add new lesson, and it's not even highlighted the right color. And so if I was to also click on it to validate this form, my errors aren't here, they're kind of down here, and so that that really doesn't make any sense for this. And so this is of course app B. So the app A one is where it actually shows up where it needs to show up, which is my done buttons here, and the validation errors are here. So kind of my hang-ups with this one, well, let me talk about what went well. What went well is when I started to really understand jQuery, and I started fixing a lot of last month's code to work with JQM, because a lot of it was breaking for some reason. My radio buttons weren't getting picked up. I kept getting null or undefined errors, and so it's almost like a good and bad. Yeah, it was hard because I had to go through the code again and rewrite it all. Well, not rewrite it, but really fix it for jQuery, because it wasn't working in terms of my edit wasn't working, the deletes weren't working, and I hadn't touched any of that. It wasn't pulling it up. And so I had to go back and fix all of those now. So they're working now. So this was one that I had added earlier. That, and being able to add a date picker in there. So it's cool that we have plugins that we can utilize in this case. And so it did update it to 3:16, which is tomorrow. So that's kind of some of the good and the bad. it really did teach me, you know, to keep on looking for resources out there, because we're not the only ones who have come up with these problems. And so finding someone else, and kind of, I was going through a lot of forums and a lot of other questions that other people had asked, and so it's good to know that we're not alone in this, and that there's resources out there of people who have gone through this and have found a solution to it. One of the major ones was the radio button, and it kept showing undefined. I tried all the filters and getting all the radio and all that, and I had to just use the latest jQuery mobile for this. It was a bug that had gotten fixed. So that's my project 3 forms, and I did, you know, use the field contain for my fields just so that they're a little bit more spaced out too. So that's all I got. Thanks.